means 3 buildings. Building 7 is the 3rd building. So, and as we've had a guest, Tony Rook out of the UK, doing a documentary on this, he says, why is it that we haven't had changes in the way firefighters are instructed to fight these fires? We talked to him on the nightly news, interviewing a firefighter who resigned and said, look, if this is true, if steel skyscrapers can suddenly collapse in their own footprint without warning because of a fire, then we need to have a different approach to fighting fires in high-rise steel buildings. That hasn't changed either. So where are the lawsuits against the building inspectors, against the architects? Where are the changes in the procedures for the firemen? No, nothing changed except our Constitution. Nothing changed after 9/11 except our Constitution. Now, the New York Times comes out today, and here we are going down the same path again, because the Wall Street Journal said, look, Alex Jones or Donald Trump has turned into an Alex Jones caller because he's talking about the 28 pages. Now we see the New York Times coming out and saying, Donald Trump is pushing conspiracy theories. The right-wing media gets its wish. They come in here and say, ever since talk radio, cable news, and the internet emerged in the 1990s as a potent political force on the right, Republicans have used those media to attack their opponents through a now familiar two-step. Outlets like the Drudge Report and Fox News, along with radio hosts like Rush Limbaugh, they are personally broaching topics now, and they say Trump is personally broaching these topics, like Bill Clinton's marital indiscretions. Marital indiscretions. So that's the euphemism that the liberal press uses when they talk about rape being done by a Democrat. If a Democrat president rapes you, it's a marital indiscretion. That's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. How can these people put this stuff out with a straight face? The paper of record, really? The New York Times are supposed to respect these people, and the Washington Post after the hatchet jobs they're doing? I mean, come on. This is ridiculous, folks. They say, they have a quote from Rush Limbaugh. He says, Trump has gone to all of this Clinton conspiracy stuff, doing the job the American media and the Republican Party won't do. Well, Sean Hannity had yesterday a brother of the Border Patrol agent that was killed in Fast and Furious. And I thought it was very interesting. He said that he had been contacted, he and his sister had been contacted by Donald Trump. Donald Trump showed up, met with him, didn't tell the media. And this was months ago. Didn't tell the media that he wanted to meet with him. He met with the brother and the sister of the Border Patrol agent who was killed. So we're going to get to the bottom of this. And he said last summer, Donald Trump did the same thing with his mother. He said it was nobody but Trump, his Secret Service protection, and he and his sister, and that Donald Trump had gone to his mother last summer. I think Donald Trump wants to get to the bottom of a lot of things that are bothering us. We've got a lot of things that just don't add up. And we understand that the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the mainstream media have been lying to us. Bull-faced lies. We want some answers. And that's one of the good things about a Donald Trump presidency that'll come out of this. I think we're going to get some answers to some long-hanging things. I mean, look at what's happening already with 9/11, the missing 28 pages. And again, we said, if those missing 28 pages get released, it's going to cause things to start unraveling. Already you're seeing this criminal alliance start to unravel. And people are starting to point fingers at each other because they're not going to take the rap for the other guy who set this whole thing up. So this is going to start unraveling. But let me read you the rest of this article, some excerpts from this article in the New York Times, talking about how Donald Trump is becoming a right-wing conspiracist, okay? They say his whole frame of reference is daytime Fox News and InfoWars, a website run by conservative commentator Alex Jones. And they, again, call us the lunatic fringe. They say they cite his willingness to appear on the radio show of Mr. Jones, who has claimed that Michelle Obama is a man. Okay, come on, folks. This is a parody. It's not serious. But, if Michelle Obama were a man, if she were a tranny, wouldn't that be something the left would want to celebrate, not get angry about? I mean, wouldn't Obama be so happy about that? They could put tranny bathrooms all through the White House. That would be something he would celebrate. And, quite frankly, Obama, interestingly enough, is transitioning himself. He transitioned from an Indonesian. He had Indonesian values. He grew up in Indonesia. And this is not even in dispute, folks. This is not about the birth certificate. We know that Obama grew up in Indonesia. He got Muslim education. He didn't grow up in America. He didn't grow up with American values. This is one of the reasons why we have things like natural-born citizen requirements in our Constitution. This is a guy who grew up in Indonesia. Then he transitioned into being an American. Now he's transitioning into being a globalist. Actually, what he's turning into, Obama is turning into an Asian. Yeah, he's trans-Asian, I think, because he's over in Vietnam, and he has now become a Vietnamese shoe salesman. Maybe that's going to be his next career, a Vietnamese shoe salesman. This is from McClatchy. Trade pitch turns Obama into a salesman for Vietnamese shoes. Okay, let's play a video of this. We've got Obama in Vietnam selling shoes.
I say this not to single out Vietnam. No nation is perfect. 2 centuries on, the United States is still striving to live up to our founding ideals. We still deal with our shortcomings. Too much money in politics and rising economic inequality. Racial bias in our criminal justice system. Women still not being paid.
He hates America,
as much as men doing the same job. We still have
Vietnamese are so much better than us.
We're not immune from criticism. I promise you, I hear it every day.
Yeah, he hears it from himself.
But that's scrutiny.
Well, scrutiny.
That open debate, confronting our imperfections and allowing everybody to have their say, has helped us grow stronger and more prosperous and more just. I've said this before, the United States does not seek to impose our form of government on Vietnam.
No, we don't seek to impose it on Americans.
I speak of, I believe, are not.
Okay, let's hold it right there.
American values.
Let's make that clear. Obama doesn't seek to impose our form of government on the federal government. He routinely ignores the Constitution, bypasses it with executive orders, ignores the Fourth Amendment, ignores the Fifth Amendment, ignores the First and Second Amendment. There isn't any part of the American government that he wants to impose on America, okay? He wants a completely different system. He's made that abundantly clear. Let's talk about the trade issue here, because this is the key, I think, for Donald Trump. You know, when Roger Stone came here, I interviewed him once. And after the interview, I said to Roger Stone, I agree with Donald Trump on a lot of issues, but I said I've got a lot of problems with him on some civil liberties issues, on eminent domain, other things. You know what Roger told me? He said, if we don't get Donald Trump in, we're not going to have a country. You know, this is an existential fight, folks, over the existence of America. And I came to realize that, you know, I want to see our Constitution restored. I want to see the Bill of Rights restored. They've been violated in every single aspect. But we're not going to have a Constitution or a Bill of Rights if we don't have a nation. This is a struggle of nationalism versus globalism. Senator Sessions has really led the way in this fight. He's made that clear. He's written op-eds himself. He's been educating Donald Trump since last August on the details of the Trans-Pacific Partnership that he was the only senator to take a look at, these transatlantic, trans-Pacific partnerships. He tried to educate the Senate. They didn't want to hear it. Donald Trump wanted to hear it. This has been something that he's been authentic on for decades. And this is a sovereignty issue, folks. We're going to have our economy managed abroad by people that aren't accountable to us in any way whatsoever. The same people who wrote this treaty are going to have their own rewrite of it. It's a living document, as Senator Sessions pointed out. They're going to be able to manage our economy. And, you know, we talk about the fact that, well, you know, Vietnam is making all these textiles and shoes and everything, things that used to be made in America, completely shut down the textile industry in North Carolina. We're told that's a great deal. We need to have a service economy. It's so clean. No, you're going to be serfs in a servant economy. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm David Knight, and here's Alex Jones to respond to the New York Times hit piece. Alex?
Absolutely, David. Thank you for doing the show today. I've taped some special broadcast segments that'll air later early this morning, taking care of some really big news developments, very, very positive things right now. I don't just host the show and augment the nightly news. I also have to run the operations. I'm the CEO, the director, the chief cook, and bottle washer, and it's just powerful to be driving along in Austin, Texas, listening to David Knight on the local FM station. And then after I left that area, out of the listening area, I was able to just click over to the free iPhone app. It's just great to have this technology and to be able to listen to the great job you're doing, David. The Saudis coming out and saying, hey, yeah, okay, we're involved, so are you. Well, absolutely. It's these shadow criminal networks. But the reason I wanted to call in was that New York Times article that I had intended to cover today, obviously, because it came out yesterday. Look, I haven't wanted to brag on air. I haven't wanted to make a big deal out of this, quite frankly, because I don't want to give the enemy the intel. But they already have his phones tapped. They already know exactly what's going on with Trump. And years ago, people told me, hey, Trump's really a patriot, knows about the New World Order behind the scenes, and is obsessed, with something like the JFK assassination, obsessed with the Federal Reserve, and obsessed with globalism, and, vaccines causing autism, because, his youngest son, folks, that's kind of a big secret, but people should just look into that. That's why you don't see him out in public. So Trump in the last decade's really woken up, and he's playing them. And they're scared. They're really concerned. Now, some of the elite think he might be playing the Patriots, is going to double cross, and just wants to take over himself. So either way, they hate his guts. But you wouldn't have a takeover artist like that who would actually be putting these issues out, because once you let the genie out of the bottle, it destroys the globalists. So the things he's saying against the New World Order, against globalism, about shadow government, the Clintons, and murder and rape is giant, long coffin nails to them. But now that you have the New York Times saying, look, he gets his worldview from Alex Jones, from Infowars.com, and from Fox News. Well, Fox News is becoming us because we're the closest to reality. So what's happened is Drudge is probably the biggest media outlet in the world for aggregating information. We're large as well, but probably a third that size. But our information analysis is so hardcore, it's amplified by Drudge, it's amplified by patriots, it's amplified by military people, it's amplified by folks that are informed. People know that our guest, our research, our analysis is extremely powerful. And folks are waking up that we've really been taken over by a foreign world government, because the globalists are out in the open admitting we've got a world government that's corporate. So they want to have their cake and eat it too and say there is no corporate world government, but at the same time there is. Or the vaccines are safe, but we just recalled the polio vaccines. It's got live cancer virus in it. That was 3 weeks ago. Something I've said 10,000 times in 20 years. I probably say it every day, don't take the polio vaccine. I mean, so people know. Harvard comes out and says, yeah, fluoride brain damages you, gives you bone cancer, reduces fertility. Well, they knew that in the 20s. We're being validated in spades, in triplicate. We're also going out and showing the violent anti-free speech people. Just InfoWars doing that is blowing their operations. And Drudge linking to us. So it's showing what a paper tiger these people are. And it's such an epic time to be alive, because the talking points we've put out that are dead on about what's going on have now spread to Limbaugh, Hannity, everybody else. Michael Savage was pretty much always there to a certain extent. He certainly always knew. He's hardcore, getting more hardcore. And so they can't shut us all up. So they sit there saying, we're the legitimate media. We're God. We tell you what to believe, when they have a 6% trust rate. So David, it's an epic time. And to have the New York Times saying, look, he gets his info from Alex Jones. It's worse than that. He's going around behind the scenes, folks. I already knew this, talking to everybody. Trump thinks he's going to save America. He's for real. He's a patriot. We basically are about to have an Alex Jones billionaire as the president, okay? Yes, tell your children not to hear a word of what we're about to say. No, the truth is they've tried to suppress us. InfoWars is only one focal point of people waking up to the true corporate global governance we're under. That corporate governance worldwide, where it's in control of about 80% of the planet, is setting up the universities to teach total totalitarianism and to arrest and shut down anyone that disagrees with the whole corporate Borg takeover. And humanity is, again, just explosively waking up right now to what's happening, and we have a fighting chance. So we have CNN, MSNBC, and the New York Times all on the same day saying it's horrible. He's talking about JFK. He's talking about New World Order. He's talking about vaccines. He's talking about rape and murder. All of it's real. All of it's true. So they have to act like what we're doing is discrediting, not because they think it's discrediting, but some weaker-minded people that still haven't woken up hear it and go, oh, my gosh, Trump's crazy. Yeah, he's crazy like a fox. He's winning. He's surging. the more hardcore he gets, the more support he gets.